Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda 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 Paramashivam. Om Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda.
People used to think it is one of the 18 siddhas. It is not one of the, of course, it is one in the 18, but Shiva himself assumed the human body and performed. 40 years he was in that body. That body is resting. In Madurai, the place, Dinamani Takis, opposite to that Takis, there is a property, belongs to Madurai Adinam property. There he is resting. And the third body, which he assumed to give sugar cane to stone elephant, and stone elephant ate that sugar cane. For that leela, he assumed one more body that is there inside the temple, under the samadhi of, under the shrine of Ellamalla Sittar. Under his murti, that third body is there. Still, I am not able to trace the other places of the remaining 8 bodies. I could see cosmically where are they, but in the Madurai map I am not able to pinpoint where the remaining 8 bodies are. Soon I will study the Madurai map and overlap my cosmic map on Madurai map and give you guys the exact points where the bodies he assumed are resting and radiating. I tell you, if you see from this angle, no other place, even in Kailash, is only one body is resting. There are 1 lakh enlightened beings' bodies are resting. That is different. But his own, the body which he used, only one body is resting. In Varanasi, 2 bodies are resting. Even in Thiruvannamalai, only one body, Arunagiri Yogeshwara's body, only is resting. I was shocked when I read yesterday the Akashic records. 11 bodies he has assumed. I tell you, Madurai was his honeymoon place. It was his favorite. Somehow, Madurai people had a very close, hearty connection with Mahadeva. Even for small things, he will assume a body. Come here and play. This was the place where he was very playful and joyful, without any of the so-called social laws, regulations, rules, and the dharma which he himself created. Here, he has broken the laws he created as per the planets. He has changed the planets for Madurai people. He has changed the teachings for Madurai people. He has changed the social laws for Madurai people. He has broken all the moral rules for Madurai people. He has done everything possible. Socially accepted, unaccepted, legal, illegal, dharmic, adharmic. In which Shastra it is dharmic? You convert the wolves into horses and sell them, and after you sell and go away, all that fellows, they become overnight, they become again wolf and bite and kill all the remaining horses who are there. And that poor king is now pauper. In which dharma it is accepted? In which Shastra it is accepted? He has done everything possible. He comes down as a worker for the old lady, saying that, see, once there was a flood, huge flood in Vaigai river, and king ordered all the citizens of Madurai should take up one portion and cover it with mud and build an embankment. So all of them have taken up one portion. One old lady, Vanthi, her job is that making idli and puttu. Puttu is those days breakfast. She will make all this and sell for people. Still now, in Madurai it is a very popular business. Go out in the night, you will see hundreds of shops. The outside street, they will be making these idlis and selling, breakfast and selling. It is still their tradition. Now it is called Kushbu idli. In those days, it's a tradition of Vanthi. So she used to make this pittu and sell. Those days breakfast. She did not get anybody to cover her portion, and she herself can't do. She is too old. She prays to Sundareswara. This whole city still now, any problem, the only person they turn to is Sundareswara. They don't trust anybody else. They just turn towards Sundareswara. And she's the old lady. She can't get a worker to fill her portion, to do her job. She turns towards Sundareswara. Oh Chokkanada, Sundareswara. This guy would have just one thought, the whole Vaigai would have had embankment automatically. He does not do that. He comes down, assuming human body and bargaining with that lady. You should give me the pittu as much as I want, but I will work only for 3 hours. He says, I will work only for 2 muhurta. 1 muhurta is 1.5 hours. I will work only for 2 muhurta, but you should give me as much as I want. This poor lady, she doesn't have anybody else. So she says, all right, go ahead. You can see what is puttu. Come on, show me. This is puttu. Those days breakfast. So she doesn't have anybody else. So no other option. She accepts the bargain. This fellow finally finishes eating everything she cooked. After that, it doesn't work. He goes there and lies down in that bed. So he goes and lies down in the banks of Vaigai. I also traced the palace he had in Vaigai. Just in between, the mid of the water, he had a palace where he used to drink with that, all the bhutas. He was not a womanizer. He used to drink and gamble. He will have all these bhutas around and they will play the dice. He will gamble with them. Finally, what is there? Finally, he will cheat all of them. And he was not a womanizer, but he used to drink and gamble. Anyhow, so he went and lie down in the bank of Vaigai. King comes in the evening to see whether the embankment work is done. He sees all parts have been covered except his portion, the Vanthi's portion. King got very annoyed and asked whose portion it is. They said this is Vanthi, old lady's portion. He asked, naturally she won't be able to do. Who is doing for her? They showed this guy has been employed by her, but from morning he is not doing anything, he is just lying there. So king calls him and asks, who are you? This fellow says, who are you to ask me this? King says, I am the king of this Madurai. He says, that is the way so many people are thinking, but actually I am the king. There was a strong argument. Finally, king was very angry and he took his sengol, the golden staff with which he rules the country, and gave a strong blow in the back of Sundareshwara. When that beating fell on Sundareshwara, when that stick fell on the Sundareshwara, at that same moment he showed to the king, he is the Antaryami, he is the indweller of every being, cosmos. So the whole world, whole universe, including himself, had that beating. The whole cosmos, including the king, had the mark of that golden staff, scepter, golden scepter's mark, and king was shocked. There he sees Sundareshwara standing with Meenakshi and smiling. King realized who came to play in the form of a worker, and he fell at the feet of Sundareshwara, asked him to apologize. Then Sundareshwara says, just because of Vanthi's feeling connection, to please her, to eat her food, to enjoy her puttu, breakfast, I came and I enjoyed. He liberated, he gives enlightenment to Vanthi and blesses the king and disappears. Till the end, he has not done his job. He did not do the job of building the embankment to the Vaigai. Casual leelas, not one or two, 64 leelas. God, I know for sure he would have done at least 64,000. And Paranjodi Munivar, the compiler, was able to collect only 64, representing all the 64,000 of leelas. The body with which he has performed this leela, especially blessing the Vanthi and converting the wolves into horses, foxes into horses, that season, around 40 years he has performed some more leelas. That body was used by him for 40 years. That body is resting in Madurai Adinam's property. I have taken the blessings of the 292nd Guru Mahasannidhaanam to build that into a beautiful, huge temple. You can see the scene of Sundareshwara coming and eating the puttu of Vanthi, the old lady. When I remember, God, this very land, he has taken 11 bodies and walked. These very roads, he would have walked and sold the firewood. These very roads, he has walked and sold bangles. This very road, he walked and sold diamonds. I am really going crazy. This very Vaigai, he created this very Vaigai. He himself came and built embankment, at least acted as building embankment. Each action divine energy performs becomes one independent entity. If you connect with that energy, he gives you the same blessing. Understand? Sundareshwara is the energy of leela, playfulness. Ask him whatever you want. He has broken all the rules. See, there is a law. Only a human body can radiate enlightenment, experience enlightenment. He has broken everything. He has given enlightenment to pigs. He has given enlightenment to bird. He has given enlightenment to cuckoo. He has given enlightenment to swan. Everyone can be assured. He has given enlightenment to pigs. What a leela. Sundareshwara. Bhagavan explains, Sri Krishna explains in this verse how each action of divine becomes independent existence, a divine energy. Shiva danced for the sake of Patanjali and showed the cosmic dance. That becomes Nataraja, the form of Shiva, an independent energy. Meditate on Nataraja, you will have extraordinary spiritual experiences. Nataraja is the Lord of spiritual experiences. Any yogic spiritual experience you want, meditate on Nataraja. Sri Krishna is explaining the philosophy behind the incarnations are multiple gods, many gods in Hindu religion. Many gods does not mean the ultimate is many. No, the ultimate is only one. Its expressions are many. Eham
Nithyanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Nithyanandam, welcome to this 15th day of the Aavani Tiruvizha Brahmotsavam. Here at Kailasa, Madurai, we're going to be receiving the deities of Meenakshi Sundareshwara. Today, Paramashiva is gracing in the leela as the Pittuku Mansumanda leela, a beautiful leela where Paramashiva himself comes and serves the elderly woman, the elderly devotee. That happens, of course, after the last leela we learned about Maanikkavasagar walking on the hot sands and Paramashiva attending him by making the whole city of Madurai flood. Then the embankment was destroyed and water was moved. The king ordered all the citizens to, as we were just hearing Swamiji tell, build the embankment, and each citizen was allotted one portion of the embankment. But what happened was, interestingly, Vanthi, which is an elderly woman who would always make this puttu and make that food and offer it to Somasundareshwara every day. So in that day she had a prayer to Somasundareshwara that he should, that somehow she should come out of, because she's elderly, she'll not be able to take mud and do her physical labor that her portion required to fill the embankment. So she requested Somasundareshwara to help her, and what happened was Somasundareshwara himself comes as a young man, as a young laborer, and takes the and accepts that he would accept her request for labor. And she says, I cannot pay you any wealth, I only have this put and I can only give this food, basic like a breakfast food. And he would he agreed, but he also agreed that it's very tasty and she should give him all that he asked for, and he will only do it for 3 hours, as we just heard Swamiji tell in the story. So he will only do for those few hours, and he wasn't doing the full job yet. He was finishing the tasks and then relaxing. And then what happened was the king came around, and the king came around to check the whole embankment and see if the whole water gates were closed with the way that the citizens have closed the water. But this portion of Vandhi's was unfinished, and this angered the king. So he asked who didn't do the portion, and the other citizens said that it was Vandhi's portion. It was supposed to be done by this laborer that is Somasundareshwara himself. And then the angry king sees the graceful Somasundareshwara, a young man, and sees him, but is angered by the fact that he was not able to finish he didn't finish for his portion of the dam or the embankment. And then so the king gets angry. He takes the shengol immediately, that is part of his paraphernalia, and beats it on the young lad. In that moment, every being in the universe was able to experience that, and Swamiji beautifully shares that this is the Anantatva, the space of indweller of all of us, that is Paramashiva, that is Somasundareshwara. So he shares that when the king beat the young Somasundareshwara himself, everybody in the cosmos felt it, every being itself felt it, and so did the king. And in that moment, he realized he's connecting with Somasundareshwara himself, and he asks for forgiveness. And the story continues on how the Somasundareshwara tells that his devotee Maanikkavasagar was trialed and blamed for something that he did not do. He wanted the Maanikkavasars to the king to understand that, and the story also continues from there about how the king embraces again Paramashiva and continues reigning a kingdom. Then we today are going to be seeing the leela of the Somasundareshwara and Meenakshi coming in this very form to the Kailasa Madurai. Yes, now we are seeing Devi Meenakshi herself. We bow down to Meenakshi Devi, who has beautifully graced us at the entrance of Kailasa Madurai. Beautifully, Devi Meenakshi is gracing us. Please be in a receptive mood and offer your prayers to Devi Meenakshi. We offer to her the traditional Mandagappadi items, and including the procession also. We have Chandigeshwara Swami, who we pray to and submit all of our integrity. And of course, we also have the deities of the Tiruparankundram Subramanya Swami, also who joined the procession, and also the deity of Maanikkavasagar himself is also gracing in today's procession, where all the Paricharakas, the Shivanariyars, are singing the Devarams, the Thiruvasagam, and the compositions by Maanikkavasagar. The Shivapuranam, in one of the songs inside the Thiruvasagam, was written by Maanikkavasagar in this very leela itself, and he presents it to Paramashiva and beautifully describes the oneness in a sweet, intimate way to Paramashiva. So we are going to see their darshan also. That was the deity of the Tiruparankundram Subramanya Swami and the deity of Maanikkavasagar. All of those versed in the Devarams of the Shivapuranam and the Thiruvasagam are also joining and singing along with Maanikkavasagar the glories of the Madurai Meenakshi and the Somasundareshwara's leelas. And here in Kailasa, Madurai, we have the deity of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism gracing us at the very entrance. We offer to him our gratitude and prayers for reviving this wonderful, beautiful tradition and allowing us to have the darshans of Meenakshi Sundareshwara in this very place of Kailasa, Madurai. And of course, behind him we have the deity of Adi Guru Dakshinamurti, who is gracing in a powerful, tall deity who graces everyone who enters into the Kailasonnata Shyamalaapeetha Sarvajnapeetham in Kailasa, Madurai. We offer to him our prayers and our worship. Yes, we are going to have a moment also where we can see the darshan of Chokkanadar and Meenakshi. And thank you all for joining us for the event and seeing the darshan of Meenakshi Sundareshwara Swami. The Annadanam continues every day in the Kailasa, Madurai for the devotees of Meenakshi Sundareshwara. Annadanam in its truest form is an act of sacrifice from a Hindu. The Hindu idea of sacrifice is renouncing what is most closest to you, what's most dear to you. That will you be able to live without it? Will you cognize a life without it? That is the way that we cognize our sacrifice. And being able to give up that also for the purpose of contributing to the world, or for the purpose of giving, that is the reason and the concept of tyaga or sacrifice in Hinduism. So in the same way, when it comes to doing any of the offerings or any seva, as a matter of fact, the Annadana Seva is an opportunity for everyone to really partake in the best narrative in Hinduism known as tyaga. This one narrative is what contributed to keeping this whole tradition alive. And if we can see, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself has lived this very principle, the tyaga of everything just to keep the Hinduism alive as well. That he is an example of, and all of the incarnations and all of the avatars of Paramashiva and the avatars of all the gods have exemplified this one quality of tyaga, sacrifice above all and first. And we have seen them give the example again and again and do that. The very talk of the town, when it turns into not into the greatest feats of a hero what they can do, or the great things that a person can do, but the real truth is how much sacrifice that person is able to do. That tyaga is what is measured, and that is the way that the whole society is interconnected and looks for inspiration, not out of fear or greed, but inspiration on how much someone is able to really put themselves aside and make their efforts to contribute the first. And we are seeing also the Annadanam continues in Kailasa, Madurai. So we can also see now the darshan of the Somasundareshwara Swami. We bow down to him in this leela that he is gracing. Beautifully, he is gracing in a leela where he is carrying the basket of mud on his head, as he did the basically he did the seva for the elderly lady who couldn't. It was a lady who couldn't do the work herself, so he helps her, serves her purpose, and also makes her fulfilled. It is not that the Annadanam, that the food that she was giving him was because he was hungry. It was really his compassion to absolve all of the karmas, the karma phala of Vanthi, the old elderly lady, and give her finally liberation. And the story also tells that from the higher lokas, a vehicle comes and takes Vanthi and goes back to the higher lokas. And that's the way that Paramashiva himself graces us in our lives, when he himself comes and in the form of any devotee or any person. Now, it is our duty to give the food to the devotees of Paramashiva. And when anybody who comes into our home or accepts the Annadanam, even one of them can be Somasundareshwara, can be Meenakshi themselves. And of course, any of them can be. So we would always serve everyone, as many people as possible, and touch and give food to them, celebrating the Meenakshi Sundareshwara as their manifestation in our lives. You can see the beautiful crowds and the Shivanadiyars, those who wear the Tirumula Varga Vedam and celebrate Paramashiva as a lifestyle in their life. All of these paricharakas, or the devotees of Sundareshwara themselves, walk into the procession along with him and celebrate him as a reality in their lives, as someone they cherish and live with throughout the day and night and year celebrations. So yes, this is the darshan of Meenakshi Devi. Meenakshi Devi is also gracing us today, along with the conclusion of the procession with Chandikeshwara Swami. Then we have the deity of the Tiruparankundram Subramanya Swami, who also attends to the procession today, and then he is carried by the devotees of Subramanya. And finally, the Vigraha of Maanikkavasagar himself, who comes in the procession also as the Bhakta, the Shiva Bhakta. The pujas and vidhis are there, are describing how one should install and worship the Shiva Bhakta, including the deities of Maanikkavasagar and Appar Sundarar and Tirunjana Sambandar himself. So with this we come to the conclusion of today's segment, where we get to have the darshan and understand the leela of Paramashiva serving the elderly devotee. So with this we conclude with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tatsat. Sarvam Bhagavat Shri Nithyananda Paramashiva Padukarpanamastu. Om Nithyanandam.
Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om 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 Nithyananda Paramashivam.